Genesis chapter 42, verse 18. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do this, and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are in custody, and let the rest go and carry grain for the famine of your households. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die." Okay, so there's a number of things in this chapter that Joseph is telling them here to do. Okay, so third day, we've seen number 3 so many often, but in this third day, it's enough time to think. It's enough time to sleep on this and to decide who is going to go and the 9 who will stay. Okay? But now, unbeknownst to them, it's going to change, because Joseph is now going to let one of them stay and 9 go. And they're not going to give them time to, to debate it, who's staying. Okay. And the interesting words, I would say here, that stands out in verse 18 is the fact that he says, "I fear God." Okay, we have seen a number of times, like Abraham and Isaac. It's like they didn't think there, especially Isaac, they didn't think like going to Melchizedek that there are people there that fear God, that the Gentiles, there's some amongst the Gentiles fearing God. So here they would not as well have expected the fact that there's this guy that's so high up, well, the second in command in this country, in this empire, the superpower of the day, that he'll fear God. They did not expect that. And so Joseph is here saying, "I fear God." And this is his reason ultimately for doing what he's going to do. His fear of God makes him let them go, and then, if they're honest, they will come back. So one will stay, they will come back, one stays, they go back, they take the grain and for everyone to live there, and then they will come back in verse 30 with the youngest brother, Benjamin. That is, in that sense, then they won't die. Okay, and they did as they were told. Now, this is unbeknownst to them. They did not think that a Gentile will fear God. But this is as well explains why Joseph is doing what Joseph is doing. Why he didn't kill them. He had all the right in the world to kill them. They sold him into slavery. They kidnapped him, as he said. They stole him. They are guilty of all of this. They are guilty of his suffering. They're guilty of him not being able to see his father, his brothers, his family, of not being part of family, of being in prison. They are guilty of that. And by the law of the day, they deserve to be executed. Why didn't Joseph do it? Why didn't he do what they deserved? Because of his fear for God. Okay? So when Joseph said those words, it explains as well why he didn't execute him. And as well, it would have been a shock to the brothers. We didn't expect any of this. Right? We don't expect this. And I guess in a sense it will give them hope of going back and, that this guy fears God and therefore all will do well. Joseph gave them something that they never gave to him. They, as brothers, never gave him hope. God was with him. God gave him hope. Okay, and just to bring this as well to us and Jesus, right? We deserve death. Plain simple. We deserve death. But he gives us life. The brothers deserve to die. Joseph gave them a new country. He gave them protection. See as well Joseph as this Antichrist. I mean, not Antichrist, Proto-Christ, the one that's the pointing towards Christ. I mean, Antichrist is against He's an antitype, right? Not the Antichrist. He's an antitype of Christ. It's a difference. In other words, he is the smaller example of the full fulfillment, which is Christ. Okay? Yes, we'll get back to that when we get to the end of the whole Joseph, this act, right? And speak about how, all the different ways, how Joseph ultimately is a small or pointed towards the ultimate Christ, the Jesus. Won't come from his line, come from the line of his family, from Judah, but this is who Joseph is. Okay, so let's continue. So they go, one stays, the rest will go back, take the food, and come back with their brother. And that will prove that they're not spies. See, this is a pressure. This is a pressure. It was never Joseph's intent to keep 9 of them there. It was always his intent too, but they didn't know it. Okay? So by doing this, now they feel a little bit better about this whole situation. It's not as bad as we thought it's going to be, so they're willing to work together. It gives them hope. Again, like I said, he gave them hope where they never did it for them, for him.